Okay, so I know making the graphs in Newton sometimes can have little quirks to it. I wanted to try to help out with this graph of cosine. Just remember that cosine of x, the original graph, looks something like this. It starts at the peak of the amplitude, and it comes back to the top after its period is complete, after 2 pi, and then it starts repeating. So if you have negative cosine of x, if you multiply the outside by -1, then it starts at the bottom and goes to the top, and then begins repeating. So this is going to start at the bottom. We know that. Let's see if we play around with this. How can we make that go to the bottom? Oh, it's already starting at the bottom. Okay, so that's good. Remember that this -1 is the equation of the midline. So for our graph at y equals -1, that's our midline. And since our amplitude is 3, that means it goes up 3 coordinates. So 1, 2, 3. And it goes down 3 coordinates from the midline. So down to -4. So our graph, this is our midline. And it goes up to 2 because that's 3 units up. And then it goes down to -4. Actually, it starts down here, right? And then there's also a phase shift that we got to work on too. It doesn't start here at the origin at the y-axis. It's been shifted some units to the left. Okay, but we know it's going to look something like this. To figure out how many units has been shifted to the left, we have to rewrite a bit. I think I need more room. Yeah, this will be good down here. So let's just look at the argument of cosine inside these parentheses. Okay, to figure out the phase shift, what you have to do is you have to factor out the coefficient of x. So this is 1/2 x plus 2 pi over 8. Those are the same thing, right? Because the 1/2 could multiply to 2 over 8. These would cancel and leave you with 1 pi over 8, just like it's supposed to. And the whole reason we did this is because now it's in factored form. This is like your b, and this is your c, and that quickly tells you what your phase shift is. The phase shift is 2 pi over 8 units to the left, or in shorter terms, if you simplify that fraction, it's negative pi over 4, because 2 pi over 8 is pi over 4. Okay, so on the graph over here, I wonder if we have enough. I might have to do some more math in just a bit. But we said it's got to be pi over 4 units to the left, so there it is with that black dot. That's the first one we got to move. And then we said the midline starts at -1, so there's our midline. And it goes down to -4, up to +2, just like it's supposed to. And then when should it repeat itself? So we are missing one last thing. We got to figure out the period. Okay, cosine usually has a period of 2 pi. But when there's a b, when there's a coefficient of x, then the period is 2 pi divided by the absolute value of b. So the period is 2 pi divided by 1/2. So if you do that, that means you're going to flip and multiply, right? This is 2 pi divided by 1/2. So you'd flip and multiply, so the period's 4 pi. This thing should repeat itself once we get to 4 pi. But then don't forget, we start at negative pi over 4, so that means we should be a little bit shy of 4 pi. 4 pi is 16 pi over 4 as a fraction, right? And if you do 16 pi over 4 plus this negative pi over 4, you get 15 pi over 4. Now there's a distance of 4 pi between these two. So let's check everything. The midline is -1, so we got that with the black dot. The phase shift, once we did some math, it was pi over 4 units to the left, so we've got the phase shift. The amplitude is 3, and since it's negative, the graph's already got it for us. So we start at the bottom, go to the top, and then come back down. And then we took care of the period. These are 2 pi units apart. So that should be good. Okay. So the way it works in Newton now is you got to go in that order. You got to do that black dot first, and then actually I think after the black dot everything else should work out okay, because these will be adjusted based on the black dot. So if you follow the instructions up here, if you do it in the order of the instructions, you should be able to make the graph. And in case you haven't seen it in other videos, just a reminder, this website's great for getting an idea of what the graph should look like. Okay, desmos.com/calculator.